The bottom line with the D2 is that it comes down to value for me.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
There it is, folks, the new Leica D2. I got one in my hot little hand. I'm going to be unboxing, reviewing, and giving you some tips and tricks on this little baby in just a couple of seconds. But first, I want to remind you that we're sponsored by Spark. Spark for appraisers. You can find out more by going to Spark, F-O-R, appraisers.com. And Working RE magazine. Working RE, of course, is the magazine that I use to keep myself updated on the appraisal industry. WorkingRE.com is where you find out more, WorkingRE.com. All right, folks, there it is, the Leica D2. Now, some of you are going to be a little bit confused by this. I was. In fact, let me just tell you a quick story. I knew I needed a new laser measure, not because my current Distos went out, but because I lost them, two of them. I had one in each of my main vehicles, and I cannot find either one. I don't know if I left them in a house. I don't know if I left them in a boat. I don't know. Left them. I don't know. This sounds like a Dr. Seuss tale, right? I have no clue what happened to my my X4s, by the way, expensive. I mean, we're talking almost $500 for these puppies, and I can't find either one of them. I'm sure they're around somewhere. I just can't lay my hands on them currently. I'm sure they will pop up. But meanwhile, as an active appraiser, I'm currently doing appraisals, and guess what? I need to have a laser when I'm out. I've been using my 100-foot tape. Holy heck, not a fun thing to be doing, folks. I have a 100-foot tape in each of my cars just as a backup. I'm glad I did, but man, what a pain it is to use one of those. For those of you who are still using 100-foot tapes or rollers, God bless your souls. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're doing it, but stop doing it, right? I've been using lasers for a very long time, since the early 2000s. And it's always been, I've used some other brands, but I've always used Disto for my appraisal needs, and it just works really, really well. But here's the story. So I got on AI, I got on ChatGPT specifically, and that's where I do most of my shopping these days, or at least the reviews, so that I can narrow down what I want. And I basically typed in, what's the best laser measure for appraisers right now? And it came back as a Disto Leica D2 for the best. I think I mentioned the best value is what I put in there. And I'm like, D2? What are you talking about? Folks, I had a D2 in the early 2000s. I'm not joking. I think it was the second laser that Disto made. I am pretty sure that the first one was called an A1. The second one was a D2. It was a brick. I actually just threw my D2 away recently, like within the last year. It lasted me that long. Now, I wasn't actively using it for the past decade, but it still worked, folks, until just recently. I can't remember what happened to it, but finally ended up throwing it away. So I thought ChatGPT was hallucinating. And in fact, I challenged it and said, "Are you sure? The D2s are old," and it assured me, no, the D2 is brand new and it's wonderful and it's great and blah blah blah. And so I, what do you do at that point? I went to Amazon, started looking, and sure enough, the Disto company, the Leica Disto company, has put out a brand new Leica Disto D2. They've named it the same that they had before. Why? I don't know, right? So the D2, assure you, it is not the big brick that it used to be. In fact, I'm going to cheat a little bit today. I told you I was going to unbox this thing, but I actually couldn't wait. So off camera, I already unboxed it. I actually used it this morning for the first time, but I'm going to pretend like I'm going to unbox it here, kind of. Again, I already told you that I cheated, but it is very, very small, folks. This package is like 6 inches by 5 inches, okay, and maybe 3 inches thick, okay. But as I unbox this thing, you're going to realize that there is not much to this thing. Anyway, I ended up buying the D2, knowing that it did not have two features that I really, really feel like I quote unquote need. Now, that being said, I'm going to show you a trick today to get past the one. And the other one, I don't know how to get past it. It just is what it is, and it's up to you. Here's the key. And I'm just going to jump to the end right now and tell you that the value for what you pay for this puppy, it's there. Okay. Now you're going to have to give up a couple of nice things. And I'm still asking myself, was it worth it? The fact that I'm going to probably find my X4s laying around somewhere, I'm sure my kid took them and was playing with a dog with them or something, right? Makes me think that I don't have to stick with this thing forever. But if I did, I kind of think it would be okay. As I look through the value and the features of the Leica D2, the new one, I realized it had most of the things that I need. Now, I don't use Bluetooth, but it has the Bluetooth, okay? By the way, I don't use Bluetooth because I find that it's just kind of a pain to connect, and sometimes it disconnects. I could use the Bluetooth. I've heard it's better than the last time I tried it. I just don't, but it has it. If you're interested in that, it has it. Whether it works with the all the mode stuff and specifically with iPhone, I don't know. Again, I haven't tried it. It's up to you to learn that. But it does have the Bluetooth Smart feature where it connects to your phone. It's got plus, it's got minus, and it's got functions, okay? But it just doesn't have the one function that I really, really like. And that is the Rise and Run feature, which I'll get to in just a second. But first, let's do some unboxing after the fact, after unboxing. Just going to open this thing up. It's going to be really easy because I've already cut the seal, okay? But the first thing that I noticed when I unboxed this thing is tiny, folks. I mean, it is, I don't know the exact dimensions, but it cannot be more than 3 inches wide, and it cannot be more than 4.5, 5 inches long. It is super, super small. It is very, very light. By the way, I already put the handle on it, the string, the lanyard, if you will. Real pain in the butt. It's always been a pain in the butt to put these in. I'm going to give you a little bit of a trick. If you open up the battery case and you use a twist tie that you've stripped, okay? So a really thin wire basically, and you double it over, stick it through, and then you're able to put the one in, guide it through the other one like the eye of a needle, and then pull it back through. That's the way to do this. Trust me, don't try to do it any other way. It is a pain, okay? But I do like to have this because it makes it easier to hold on to and not lose. Hello, I lost two of my X4s. But this thing is light, folks. I mean, this is like 6 ounces. I mean, it's crazy, crazy light. There's not much to this thing. As you can see, there's not much of a screen. It's got the plus, it's got the minus, it's got the function, it's got the Bluetooth, it's got the, whether you want to put that laser starting here or mid or in the front, it's got all that like you're used to with the Disto. But folks, the two things that this does not have. Oh, by the way, it does come with a nice carrying case. I like to do this actually. I usually undo the Velcro and I'll stick that through like this, okay? And that way I've got it with me. I can hold it. It's easy. I can use this kind of as a handle if I have to drop and work on my phone. And then of course I've got the case there and I can throw it in there just like so. It's pretty easy to do. Folks, seriously, this thing weighs so little. I'm kind of afraid I'm going to lose it, okay? And again, the two features that it does not have, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip and trick with at least one of the features. The other ones, you're just crap out of luck. I'm sorry. Just, there's not much you can do about it. But I want to talk about both of those things, but also talk about the value as soon as we get back from the break. First, I want to pause and remind you that we're sponsored by a couple of great companies, of course. Working RE Magazine. Working RE is where I go. Folks, it's free, right? Get on their list. If you're an appraiser and you want to know what's going on in the world of appraising, you need to be on Working RE. It is a great source of information about your career, about where you chose to make your money. If you want to know what's going on in the valuation world, workingre.com. Again, workingre.com. And of course, Spark. Spark is the ability to save money, save time as an appraiser, to download information directly into your appraisal report, no matter what software you use. It is awesome, folks. Spark, for appraisers. Don't make the mistake of putting the number 4 in there. Okay, it's Spark for FOR appraisers.com. Again, one more time, Spark for appraisers.com. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. Dustin Harris hanging out with you in the podcast chair. Thank you for joining me. We are unboxing, if you will, the Leica Disto. Gotta love that, right? D2, the new D2, not the big brick that they used to have, but the brand new one is super, super small, super easy. It slips in your pocket so easy, folks, you forget it's even there. I literally used it for the first time today, got out of my car, put it in my back pocket, walked up to the door and thought, oh crap, I forgot my laser because I didn't feel it in my pocket. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this thing is so tiny. Like if you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't know it is there. Here's the catch, okay? If you're used to the X4 or some of the other models with Leica, there's two things that I have kind of learned to lean on, okay? One of those things is the rise and run feature, okay? Now, I don't know that that's the official term of that, but it's basically the ability to be able to stand at a wall and shoot up to the soffit, okay, and get the distance as if you're straight across because it knows how much you're tilting the laser. Okay, I'm going to give you a trick in just a second on how to overcome that with this particular model. This does not have the rise and run feature. Okay, I want to be very, very clear. When you buy this, it does not have the rise and run feature. Do not be deceived. It's not there. Okay, there is a way around it. I'm going to show you in just a second. The other thing that you're going to miss, okay, I'm going to turn this on for you so you can see, okay, there is no video like there is with the X4 and some of the other models. Also, if you look on the side, in the past, there's been those little spotting scopes, if you will, on the side. The manual focus, that's not on there either, okay? So the point being, no pun intended, is you've got to see the laser point at the other end. There's no other way to do it. You cannot magnify it. You cannot look in the screen. It doesn't do that anymore. There's no video on the D2. Okay. There's no scope on the side. You have to be able to see that red dot on the other side. That is a huge deal. And honestly, the first time I used it this morning, I realized how huge of a deal it was, right? How often I rely on that video screen on the X4 and it didn't have it. And I'm like, ugh. And I'm trying to look and I'm trying to see, you know, you can walk that laser down the wall. It does work. Okay. But it was a bit of a pain and it's going to take some getting used to, especially with these old eyes. I just turned 50 years old over the weekend. Happy birthday to me. Right. And my eyes are going, folks. They're not as great as they used to be. That is a problem. Okay. The rise and run feature is not a problem because there is a way around it. It's a little bit trickier, but I think the more I practice it, the more I can do it. Okay. And rather than me tell you how to do it, I'm going to show you with my first inspection of the day, right? First inspection with the D2 this morning, recorded a short video. I want to show that to you now. So I'm outside and I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick to get past the thought that the D2 does not have the rise and run feature. With the X4 and some of the other models, you could stand here and shoot up to the soffit and it would subtract out how far it goes up versus goes across. It would do that all internally. The D2 doesn't do that. Now, let's pretend hypothetically that this is a straight wall and that there's nothing to bounce off of. Again, hypothetically, I've got a downspout down here. I can always bounce off the inside of the siding on the other side. There's a tree back there. My point is, let's pretend like there's nothing to bounce off of. Normally, with the X4, I would just have to stand here and shoot up to that soffit that you can see here, and that would subtract out or use the Pythagorean theorem to know how much you rose because it knows how much it's tilted. The D2 does not have that feature. So here's the trick. You can put your laser here. I'm going to shoot up to that soffit. And then as I shoot to that soffit, I'm not going to move my hand at all. I'm just going to twist and go straight up to this soffit using the Pythagorean theorem, and it will come up with the exact same measurement as if it was built in. That's the trick. You can still do it. It's a little bit trickier. You got to be really careful not to move your hand up and down, not to move it back and forth. It's got to stay equal. But if you do that, hit the function first, the Pythagorean theorem will allow you to be able to get that distance if you don't have anything to bounce off of. All right, folks, I hope that was helpful. If you are used to the X4, you're used to the Rise and Run, but you can still do it with the D2 as I showed you. It's a little bit trickier, but it can still happen. And honestly, folks, I don't use the Rise and Run feature that much. Maybe, I don't know, maybe once an inspection I do, but I think I can get around it with doing other things. And if I can't, I've still got the ability to be able to do it as I showed you on the video, folks. So here is the summary. Okay. If you didn't watch anything else, watch this last part. Here's the summary. Okay. Let me just share with you how I feel about the D2. Okay. The bottom line with the D2 is that it comes down to value for me. Okay. Is it the best disto out there for appraisers? No. Is it the best value for appraisers out there? Kind of think so. Folks, I paid recently for my X4, which I lost. Did I mention I lost it? I paid over $400 for my last X4. Okay, over $400 on my X4. Okay, I paid recently not quite $160 for this one. Okay, it was $158 on Amazon, right? That is less than half the cost. It does everything that I use for the X4. The X4 is amazing, right? It does a lot of things I never even use, okay? But of the things that I use with the X4, there are two things that the D2 does not have. One of them is the Rise and Run feature, which I've already showed you how to overcome. The other thing is the screen, which may be a little bit more of a challenge, especially for those of us who are older, okay, to see that red dot. But I think that's doable as well. It's a great backup, okay? A lot of times I'll carry a disto and a backup disto, okay, because I really hate the 100-foot tape. So I don't know if I want to promote this as your primary laser measurer to use in the field, but I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be using it for a while until I find my X4. When I find my X4, I'll be grateful to go back to it, okay? If I never find it, I don't think I'm going to replace it. I really don't. I think this will do the trick. The value is there for $160, folks. Kind of a good deal. Thank you for joining me today. As always, go create some value.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.